So I first learned this patty crust recipe from Keith Lauren on YouTube several years ago. He learned it from someone else, and over time I've made a few adjustments based on what I had available, and so I made some tweaks to it. All right. So let's jump right into it. The patty crust, I get in my mixer. You don't have to use a mixer if you don't have one. And then I grab in my suet. I said I'm call it beef suet. And I cut mine up into smaller pieces. I think in his video he had like little pellets. And I used about 3 cups total. So I chop it up small. Here are the 3 cups, right? And then I have assisted my flour, 4 cups of flour. And then in that little container is turmeric salt, some baking powder, sugar. I dump that in, kind of mix it out a little bit because to get rid of the clumps. And this is some butter, Crisco. They use it in pie crust. It's very common in pie crust, right? So I pour in that beef suet I was cutting up earlier, sweet, right? Mixing it around, and then I'm gonna turn on. Oh no, before I do that, let's look at the egg. I pour in some vinegar. That's also very common when you're making pie crust. And then for my food coloring, including the turmeric I put in earlier, I added a few drops of food coloring, the liquid one, and I got the gold color. And I got that from, I think, Hobby Lobby, right? So I'm gonna turn on my mixer and then I'm gonna pour. And I also added cold water to that, ice cold water. Again, like pie crust. And I pour it in. I used close, not quite a cup. I just used more than 2/3 cup in it. I know his recipe said 2/3. I added a little bit more so mine can come together. It's gonna be a little crummy, but that's okay. And I kind of put it together. I used a mixer, but I never overbeat it. That's one thing I want you to know. I did not overbeat it. I just let it come together because it's just so much faster. I divided the dough in 4 pieces, and each of these pieces will become 3. And you'll see that in a bit, right? So 3 pieces, and then I roll the individual one. So in total, you're going to have 12 patties, right? So I roll it out as thin as I can, right? And if you like it thick, you don't want to go as thin. So I fold it kind of in the layers like you're making, well, not quite like croissants, but it's the same concept, right? You roll it and already have all the butter and the suet that's already in there. So you fold that. This is the hardest part of the process. This is where the labor is in the crust, right? So I squeeze it down a little bit to kind of get it to flatten so it's easy for me to roll. It's a lot of arm work, right? I always put some extra flour on the surface so it doesn't stick because of all that fat that is in it. And I roll it again and I just put in the arm work and I roll and then voila, there you go. And that's what I'm using now. I'm going to put the meat in it and then seal the sides and I'll show you how that works. Okay?